Word.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Jesse and Phoenix coming at you live here from the Philippines. It's Wednesday morning for me at 6 a.m. and I have a little rascal that is attached to my hip this morning. So looks like we'll probably be doing a relatively short call here today, but I did not want to miss out on getting a chance to see you guys here because it has been a minute. So I wanted to give you guys a quick life update on me, since some of you guys are like, "Is Jesse alive?" Just because I've been out of out of pocket for so long. Anyway, yes, getting back on my feet here. Thank you for the warm reaches out and making sure that I was okay. So I got hit with a really nasty case of shingles, which I do not recommend. 0 out of 10, in case you were wondering. I know many of you guys are like, "Ooh, yeah, I know what those are like. They are not so much fun." So completely down the entire left side from my mid back all the way down to my heel, which was super fun. Anyway, pain wasn't too bad, but the immune system just got shot, and then I ended up picking up another infection afterwards, which I'm still recovering with. Phoenix ended up getting chicken pox, and we were quarantined in our house for like 10 days here with a 2-year-old inside of a apartment in the middle of Manila. It just, again, 0 out of 10. In fact, negative 100 out of 10. I wouldn't recommend. But anyway, back on my feet for the most part, and getting my energy levels back up here so that way I can kick some butt with you guys here, especially as we go into two significant months here, as we are moving into closing out the month of June, then closing July and August. So a couple of things here I wanted to make sure that everybody was up to speed on, up to snuff on. And then I wanted to actually bring up something that I think is important as we're heading into the summer and as we're heading into this. And part of this is a little bit more of kind of more some research, a mastermind, and also something that I wanted to get your guys' input on because I think it's really important as we move forward as a leadership group here into creating kind of this world-class experience and these an insane value on the trips that we have coming up over the summer. Obviously, during the summer months, we purposely, with Good Life Trainings, put a very big gap between our big events. And what I mean by that is obviously Amplify, which was at the beginning of May, and then our next major event being in September, which is Elevate, which is going to be in Columbus, which I can't wait to see you guys for, is a pretty significant gap when it comes to a big event. Now, part of the main reason why we did that was strategic, is because the anticipation is that we're going to be on a lot of escapes and group escapes and relatively large trips or team trips that are going to be happening during this time. Now, obviously, I see the Big Chill is sold out. I've got Vietnam coming up here in a couple of weeks, which I know some of you guys are going to be joining me for. I know Raymond and Janie, you guys are selling out trips all day long. I know Team Rhino. I mean, there's obviously I'm so many different groups and trips. I know the Bradshaws have a great trip that they're doing down into Mexico as well. Which it's already got a ton of rooms for as well. I know we've got Puerto Rico that is going to be happening over there with I know Jared and Pacheco, and there's a bunch of people that are everywhere now. So this is not to go into that, but I do want to open this up here because there are some of you that have an incredible amount of experience when it comes to these trips, and I want to kind of mastermind a little bit on this. Now, we just wrapped up here our Greece trip in Thessaloniki and I can never pronounce either of those very well.
How
So
Kibiki.
Hel-
How
Halkidiki,
Kibiki.
Halkidiki, Halkidiki. There we go. Thank you, Disa. Which the pictures and the feedback and the experience from everybody over there, which was absolutely fantastic. In fact, Nisa, if you have a quick sec here, do you want to kind of share with us how the event was over there in Greece?
Oh my God, it was totally off the charts. I just have to tell you that the African team, the European team, the boat trip that we had was off the charts. The Blue Lagoon was so beautiful. And it was so important for this event to happen because it just brought everything together. And then having the event at Hyatt, which was not a 5 star, it was just like a 6 star. It's so beautiful. The room was perfect. The excitement, of people hitting rank, not just one rank, but three ranks since the last event in Dubai. There's so much excitement, and even after the training, most people stayed an extra night at the Hyatt, and there was groups of people just game planning and everything else. So the excitement is there, and Europe is back, and we're going to Barcelona next. So
Yes.
see you all in Barcelona.
That is right. That is right. So Greece was a smashing success, and the trips and the videos, and obviously the recaps that's going to come out of that. So, which one do you want? Okay, all right. Which one? This one? This one? This one? That one. Okay. All right. You want to have that. Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to drop you off here in a little bit, and you're gonna have to play with mommy. Okay. 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 Yeah. So okay. Go. Go. Oh. All right. You're gonna close the door because daddy's working. Okay. Good. Oh. Maybe that worked. Amazing. So our next event that's going to be in Europe for Europe and Africa is going to be in Barcelona. So I'm going to be hosting that as well as with Miss Angie Cuff. I believe that Mr. Eric Get Paid Grisbowski is also going to be probably in attendance at that event as well, which is going to be awesome. So cannot wait for us to build into Barcelona. There will be an escape beforehand, which is going to be out there here shortly. So we're going to make sure kind of the same thing. We get tickets sold for the event, and then we're going to put the escape out. So you'll stay tuned for that. The event is October 4th, 5th, and 6th. It's the first weekend is going to be Elevate for Europe. So September Elevate is going to be obviously in Columbus, that mid-September, which I'll be back for, and then going to be heading back over to the Philippines and then heading over to Barcelona. So it'll basically be like I'll be circling the world over those couple of weeks as we do. But back to kind of the original subject at hand. So as we are closing out June here, so June, July, and August, from a leadership standpoint, is this. Wanted to make sure that everybody knows that is if you have not walked the stage at a Viago event for a title and or a rank, no, for those of you guys that are brand new, if you just came into Viago from December, you probably walked at your highest achieved rank. For those of you guys that maybe have transitioned from that previous business that we were a part of, so if you have not walked at a Viago event, this is going to be your event in September, which means where you land when it comes to your rank in June, July, or August, your highest achieved rank since being in Viago is what we're all going to walk at, myself included, everybody here, so we can truly identify the markers in terms of what we're making sure that everyone's being promoted at their correct ranks and all of those pieces. So we've got a couple of months that are super important and a ramp up. What you can accomplish even from a dead start. And what I mean by that is this. None of you guys are obviously at 0-0. Obviously, you wouldn't be on a gold and above leadership Zoom if you were at 0-0. But let's just say hypothetically you were and you were at 0-0 right now on June 24th or 25th, coming from my side of the world, that could you get accomplished? Could you go out there and hit Sapphire? Can you hit, Emerald and all that before September? And the answer is unequivocally, without a shadow of a doubt, yes. Okay, yes, my love. So, guy, 100%. Now, why is that? And the reason why is because we're going into a season that is literally the perfect season for our business. Now, where a lot of people during summer, it's kind of a check out. Ours is like full on gangbusters excitement. Why? Because we are in a season where we're creating this top of the mind awareness. And this is one of those things where getting out there is really important when it comes to a marketing standpoint. And I want to kind of talk a little bit about this before I go into opening this up, which is the thing I'm the most excited about here today, and get your guys' feedback on. And also for some of the leaders that are on here that have done this for so long to be able to get a chance to experience it. Okay. So, in any event, the top of the mind, whereas when we're getting out there, when it comes to trips, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to training, all of these things are going to be really important when it comes to finishing out month of June, month of July, and the month of August. So through these pieces, this is something that I wanted to make sure that we do really, really, really well. Now, when the training side of this is as we're going through the summer period here and finishing out these months, I know, baby, I know. So is going to be really important. So Here's one thing I want us to do. Now, I know we've got the Phipps that are on here, we've got the Bronze that are on here. So I know the Ojedas, so I know Melanie, the people that have done the Taylors. So, and many of you guys that have been a part of hundreds of trips. Now, I want to center this in on escapes here real quick. Because this summer we are leaving this gap primarily for as many escapes as possible. This is becoming really the glue when you take a look at this. Now, obviously, with the value of our membership continually increasing, okay, and continually going up as much as humanly possible. Hang on one sec, guys. I've got to grab this little one who is all over the place here. Okay. 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 Um, okay. There we go. Sorry. As much as I thought I could do that with a distraction with the doorbell ringing and the dogs and my daughter, so that was a little much for me. So, um, squirrel. And I apologize for coughing. So while I'm still recovering from these silly infections. Um, is trips. So when we take a look at escapes, escapes is one of the kind of the cornerstones of our membership. In fact, it is one of the areas in which we can create the most value for people and create the most stickiness inside of the business. All of us want to create a sticky business, as we all know, meaning that beachfront property that or that beachfront residuals, which is how do we get that is where people are happy, loyal members. They're excited about their membership every single month and because of the value they get from it. Now, some value is inherent. Other values are a little bit more difficult to be able to kind of connect the dots in terms of how somebody values their membership. Now, one of the things that's really important when it comes to conveying the value of a service or a subscription, because I know some of you guys have been a part of this industry and done really well in products. Some of you guys have done really well in services. So when you take a look at a service-based program, which is what I spent my first 10 years in this industry building, which was a membership, much not nearly as fun and sexy as this membership. However, is you got to look at the annual value, not the monthly value, right? The monthly value is not as important as the annual value because when somebody's weighing a value proposition on an annual basis, they need to be able to extract value from it. Because if they're not traveling on an escape monthly, now obviously, if for many of you guys are tripping, you're out there tripping every month. However, that is not the average case, and especially for a newcomer coming in getting them on an escape and getting them onto an experience and creating that value for them ahead of time. There's so many things. Obviously, we're going to be doing that with our daily deals, with our member deals, with our products, with all telemedicine, all the other areas of which they can extract value. However, we all know if you want to lock in somebody into this membership, you want to lock in somebody into our community, you want to lock in somebody into their future, is to get them on an escape. Now, why are these escapes so significant? Well, as we know, it's that bonding experience, and particularly with the leadership. If they were just going on a group trip with strangers and they weren't creating these relationships, on this where like at a convention, a good example, like at a convention, a lot of times I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off, and I'm backstage, I'm producing the event, and I'm running from this room to this room, and then I'm talking to the VSAs, then I'm talking to the thing, and then the tech team, and then the promotional team, and then outing up to Isaac's suite, and then just trying to get this done. And like, I don't even a lot of times have a lot of breathing room when it comes to getting a chance to spend what I would consider more quality or intimate time with people on a more an individual basis. It's usually because there's so many things to be accomplished at an event. On an escape, however, we really get a chance to actually spend that time. And those experiences on those escapes, which are far beyond the price, and this is what I want to get to, is that racing to the bottom is the easiest way to lose when it comes to business, and especially when it comes to price, where it's like the cheapest is not always the best, as we all know. In fact, it never is the best. The question is how do we create the best experience at the best price on these programs? So what I want to do here real quick, and if any of you guys have the ability, I wanted to get some of your guys' feedback on things that we can do as leaders. Now, why is this important? Escapes are a product. I want you to think about it that way of us. I believe they are one of the most important products that we offer in our marketplace. Now, as our membership continues to expand and we have more and more ways for you to be able to use points, and you have more and more products that are going to be in the marketplace, all of that stuff is coming. However, during the summer, we're going to be tripping up, right? And over the course of this year, and what we want to do is be able to create these world-class experiences for people from everything, from the moment from basically pre-escape, during escape, and even post escape. What are things that we can do as a leadership? Because these aren't vacations for us, they're working trips. These are business building trips for us. Now, of course, they're designed to be enjoyable and fun. They shouldn't be horrible experiences. But also at the same time, as a leader, when you're on these are truly not vacations. They're a lot of work, but they're business building. And what they should be doing is growing your business, obviously, and locking people in for life. So, anyway, I've got a couple of things that I wanted to bring up, but because I've got these trips coming up and I wanted us to kind of take some notes on this stuff of some ideas. So, many of you guys is this. So, if anybody has, I want to kind of open this up since we have a little bit of time here this morning, for anybody that has anything that they believe that they have done on a trip or they have seen done on a trip that they went, that was great, that was cool, that created an experience, that was that little one percenter that really offered either more value. Some of these things cost a little bit, some of them cost nothing to do, but they pre, during, and post. And I'm going to take down some notes here for you guys, and we want to collect this because as leaders, we want to start creating the handbook and the hand guide to leaders that are going to be building and hosting trips. Because think about it this way, you get somebody on one of these trips, you create this experience, and you have a member for life. I mean, how, and a raving fan and an advocate for your membership is one of the most important things. So, Raymond and Janie, I'm going to go. I'm so glad you raised your hand because I was hoping you guys would be first because I know this is like your wheelhouse and some of the things you guys do best. Because a lot of times when I know that Janie and Raymond are putting on a trip, it's sold out before the trip even goes live. So, anyway, so talk to us. Tell us, guys, what can we
Well,
do as leaders and as a community here in Viago to create the world-class experience here for these trips?
well, we're going to cover something that we found a long time ago that really started the bonding way before the escape. Okay. And there's a lot of leaders you have on here that have all experienced and know how to do these trips. So I can't wait to see your document that you're coming up with. But what we want to talk about is the pre planning. So what we do to get the excitement up so that we can get the biggest value of the signups, of the bookings. So what we do on our team is we start months in advance planning that trip. So I'll just give you the example of our Madrid trip. We've got about 160 people going on that one, and it's Madrid and then followed by Morocco. And so what we did about 10 months out is we started talking up the Madrid and Morocco team trip, letting everybody know we're starting the planning. We went onto our Facebook page. We said, we're starting the planning. Watch for this to come out. And then as we got the trip planned, we went out and gave on our Facebook page the exact date and time that they were going to be able to book, giving everybody a couple of days notice so they could be ready at their computers to get booked at that time. We sold out, I think we're at like 90 rooms now. We sold out of our initial 60 rooms in about, Cynthia, what was it, like 20 minutes or 15 minutes or something like that. And so people go, how do you sell out your trip so fast all the time? It's because we begin that excitement way in advance. We talk about the trips way in advance. People are starting to recruit new members to go on that trip. So by the time we come out with the link and we post the time, boom, everyone knows when that's going to happen. And there's a frenzy trying to get booked. So what ended up happening is we sold out. We knew how many people weren't booked. So we went ahead and went in for another 10 rooms. Then we went in for another 20 rooms. So right now we're at 90 rooms total. And
Amazing.
that's how we build the frenzy. Now, and one more pre thing. Yes, sir.
Question for you on a couple of things here, just from your experience is this. So when you're talking about timeframes, and I think this is important for all of us because obviously we are co-creating Viago. And what I mean by that is this is our company. Yeah, and like legitimately when you take a look at it, right? So, and we're building this. So when we look at the trips, one of the best things that we can do is obviously sell out trips. It's good for everybody, the experience, the company, all these things. One of the challenges that we've had in the past is when trips come out. Now, obviously, if the company puts out a trip because they need something in that market or that arena or that area, it's that. But we're noticing, obviously, that the best trips are leader-led trips or field-led trips that are open to the group, of course. But but it's when it's led by, like, good example where it's like Raymond and Janie, we're going here. Now, you're pre-planning. You said about 10 months out. My question that I want to get to when we take a look at it is what is the date from the date that you would make the trip available to book to going on the trip? What is that time frame approximately that you found to be the best? How much time lead time do you need from the trip becomes available to purchase to the actual trip?
It depends on the magnitude of the trip. For
Okay.
example, this particular trip that I'm talking about from Madrid and Morocco,
Yeah.
that's a huge trip. Okay,
Right.
that's something that people need to plan for. So we like to start about 10 months out. And the way we know where we're going to next as a team, and by the way, the only reason we don't open it up to the whole company is because we always sell out within our team first. So,
Of course.
I wish we had more rooms that we could do that. But so we start as early as we can because of the amount of planning time that people need. In
Gotcha.
addition to that, there were 4 installment payments for this trip. So it made it very manageable for everybody.
Interesting. Okay,
Now,
so
it's not
about
the easiest thing to collect, but it's working.
gotcha. So this is something that you're doing for your guys' group, obviously. So,
Right.
um, so 10 months out from the 10 months out is when they can start booking for a bigger trip. Let's
No, no,
or
not booking. No, no, not booking. 10 months out is when we start building the hype.
building. And then how
And
long?
shortly after that, like in this one here, I don't even remember when we went out with it, but it was probably shortly after that. The the that's the magnitude of that trip. A smaller trip, for example, we just got back from the Hard Rock Cancun.
Right.
So that one was about 4 months planning,
4 months.
because that's an
Got it.
easy one for everybody to get to. It's a
Got it.
5 day, 4 night. It's not an 8 day or 9 day.
Right.
So it's a little bit more doable for most people. So that one was about 4 months. And
Gotcha.
that one we ended up with, I think, like 50 rooms or something like that. And we partnered with Carrie's other teams to go on that one too. So that one didn't take as much planning time.
Gotcha. So here's a couple things. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, for some of you, you're like, well, this is obvious. Now, if you're like me and you are coming into Viago and you haven't built a business in the travel space, Raymond and Janie built one of the most successful businesses in the travel space in this industry, so they know it very well. So one of those things where if you're brand new, just getting started inside of Viago, and you're like, well, I can't even sell out an event. I'm having a hard time getting everybody to go on their first escape. We get it. Like, you got to start where you're at. And sometimes it's going to require you. But here's what I want you to be thinking of, and I want you guys to get the ownership mentality of it, is Raymond and Janie did their first trip and went on their first trip by themselves or with a handful of people. That's where it starts. It
By
starts
ourselves.
or by yourself. Yeah, exactly. By yourself. It starts with you going on a trip and then collecting your first group of people that are going to be on that group that then start helping you promote the next one and the next one and the next one, that you kind of collect your tribe, so to speak. Right. And as you guys notice, that some of these different groups is this. So, and it might take where you're going to team up, but the idea that I want you to be thinking about is this: is how do I leverage this product in the best way possible for me to create these experiences that are just so infectious, so magical for people that all they want to do is be excited to the next trip, and they're just itching until it becomes available. So, okay, so about a few months out, if it's a bigger trip, and figuring some of those things out. So pre-planning. So probably you're right. One of the most successful things that we have found from getting an event started, getting it launched, and building it up is the pre-planning and pre-promotions to your teams, and getting what I would call buy-in already, even before it goes out, from the groups of people. It's great, great stuff. Anything else, Janie, on this one?
Well, there's a lot, but I'm not going to steal the thunder because I know there's a lot of teams doing this, and Cynthia's on here too, um, because that's just the very first step.
Yeah.
Then the next step is, of course, to get a Zoom together once it's all booked so that everybody can meet each other on a Zoom and you can start talking about the particulars. Our Madrid trip is in October. We will have our first Zoom next month in July.
Jeez Louise. So, all right.
Yeah.
Well, that means
Yeah.
I have to do a Zoom for Vietnam like last month.
Yeah.
So
And the reason I say that, Jesse, is only because, and then we'll do another one as we get closer, is because there's a lot of people on this trip that have never even traveled internationally.
yeah.
So their anxiety level begins to build as they get closer to the trip, and doubt begins to set in if they should be going. So
Yeah.
we want to put that doubt to rest by letting them know how simple of a trip it's going to be. Now, it's not just Raymond and Janie doing this. We have our leaders on this call, but Cynthia will share with you what she does with her group that's going on that trip. We'll just use that trip as an example, but she'll share with you, okay, what she does to get her group together. Because we just do the Zoom. She actually brings her people over to the house. They get to meet each other before they go, because there's different pockets of teams within our team. We've got
Absolutely.
several different teams. We've got Juana and Ruben that go somewhere else before they come to this trip. We've got Marty and Lynn. I mean, it's just so many different angles that come into the pre-planning. So by the time we show up on the trip, everybody's already somewhat familiar and
Yep.
very comfortable, and they feel at home, and they're already starting to plan the next trip and who they're going to bring into the club to go on that next trip, wherever it is. It doesn't
Yes.
matter.
Right, because part of the excitement of going on the trip is they can't join that trip. A good example is the people that are excited about going to Vietnam and the buzz that's collecting around it can't sell people to go to Vietnam because the trip is closed. So whatever that next trip is already planned out. Now, do you already have the next trip available to book and planned when you're going on your trip, or is that coming available soon after?
Soon after. Soon
Soon
after,
after.
because we want to get feedback on the trip of where people want to go.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
We
So
try to always have
basically,
something.
Yeah,
uh,
we always have something going on, as Raymond said. We always have a trip being planned.
got
But
it.
we're just showing this one. Like, for example, right now we took full advantage of the big chill. We just
Hmm.
finished our Hard Rock, which is our beach trip. We're moving into our Guatemala trip. We're just coming out with that trip. And
Amazing.
then we're planning for the Madrid trip, at which time we'll be talking about the next trip. So everybody will be coming back going, woohoo, we're going to Bora Bora or wherever we decide to go.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. So
I
I
think I
love
think
it.
the idea is to always have something to promote as
Right.
much as possible. Have something to promote.
Yep.
Yes. So I always have something to promote. So and which is great. Yes. So yeah, bat fat. It used to be book a meeting from a meeting. It's book a trip from a trip. So I love it.
Exactly. So Jesse, we're getting ready to go in and set up for our meeting. But I know you've got some of our leaders on here that I'm sure are going to share a lot. I don't know how long you want to go on this call, but
we're
we'll be
listen.
listening.
We're
We'll
gonna
be
create.
listening.
We're gonna get as many tips. So I know this is really this is something that's helpful, especially for those that have never been in this had a product like this to promote and or sell. It's different than just going, hey, here's a face cream or here's a nutritional product. You take it and here's the benefits of that product and here's the value of why it is great. How like when I looked at the numbers from previous businesses and you looked at retention rates, the retention rates on a service are sometimes not as great as products. But what I noticed was that when somebody goes on a trip, the retention is stupid. So so if we look at how we create these experiences as a leadership group, because as much as the company is helping put on some of this stuff, this is really it's us. Like when we put on these events, we're on those trips. We're the ones that are creating the experiences. So I love it. We're going to create this leadership handbook for us here with Good Life Trainings to make sure that if you are running an escape or putting on an escape, here are best practices. Of course, we don't expect everyone to be perfect with them in the beginning. So as I am learning this along with many of you guys and learning from all of you. So Cynthia, looks like here, and then I've got Phipps. I don't know if that's KP or Juanita, but we'll get to you, and then and then there's some comments here. I'll read out loud in case you guys are driving and you can't read them. So Cynthia, talk to me, girl.
Hey, everybody. So Janie already talked about a little bit of what we do, But when she starts to plan or put the buzz out, when she tells me I start secretly telling people where we're going. Like they're getting the first thing, right? But she tells me I can tell people, right around
I
that
knew
time
that's what
before
she was doing.
and then because I do have so many different pockets of people on our team, we had before we went to Thailand, we had a Thailand party. We had a meet and greet. We had a what to take to Thailand for the long trip. We had a trick and travel party where everybody brought something for everybody to take with them to Thailand. Um, we got together with some people and fundraised so we could get some items and took them to the orphanage there in Thailand. Um, we just did things that would create a bond. And then we went on a trip. Everybody knew each other. Everybody had a great time. And then when we came back, we had a travel party, but we didn't name it a travel party. We named it, let's recap what we did in Thailand. Bring your pictures. We'll show your pictures. And invite your friends. So we didn't show a presentation, but people joined because of the energy in the room from all the people that were excited from the trip.
Great, thank you.
How you doing today?
So I
that's a hot
really
one.
think that part is important to get the people together, at least your team, the smaller teams to bond. So when they go, they don't see it as a group. Some people are afraid that a group travel means I got to hang out with the group. No, you hang out with your tribe within the group.
Right. I love it. All right, this is great, guys. So recap, I love this one. So having a get together, a trip and travel, a pre-planning, party in terms of it, and even a themed party about where you're going, is amazing. I absolutely love, Cynthia. The idea of this is bringing stuff and having everybody bring something to where you can go contribute and give back to the market or the area or the country in which you're going into. That's a huge thing. And this is something that's important to me and something I'm excited about to do in Vietnam is having one of the days as a contribution day. Even if it's just a few hours out of your day, especially if you're on an extended trip like we have. We have a 5-nighter and we have an 5-day and an 8-day trip here for Vietnam. Is being able to do that because we always want to leave the world better than we found it. We want to leave the place better. We want people to go in and make an impact in the world. And it doesn't have to be a full volunteerism trip like the bottle schools in Guatemala or Hug It Forward for us to make impact into the market. Sometimes just going in and making a contribution and being mindful of that in the area is something that I think should be a part of every trip, whether the company's doing it, but as leaders, as we go, the market will go. So it's awesome. The recap party is amazing, right? Because if you get everyone back, they're on the buzz, they're on the high, they're inviting everyone over, and they're seeing the excitement. And then if you've got a trip for them to join to be a part of next, that's a huge one. Cynthia, these are great, 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 great tips. One of the things you guys are noticing here on this so far in the feedback is it's not what happens it's what happens before, during, and after that obviously create a lot of that success. So FIPS, not sure where you're at, which FIPS I've got, but turn it over to you.
Hold on. You
Got
actually have
both.
us
Oh,
a little trouble. You got both of us.
double trouble. I like it. Talk to us.
Go ahead. Kay has something you want to say first.
Hey, Jess.
Hey,
Well, I'm green, so you gotta put
really?
detail in there. Right. So,
Stop it.
so if you're writing a booklet, the booklet has to start from ambitions of a big team. Right. So like Janie and Raymond, they are the goals, the trip goals, right?
Right.
Yeah. So the point is, how do you get to where you are to them? And that's got to be key. And that is, one, every trip is not for everybody.
Oh, it's good.
Right. Just because you like what it says don't mean the work that goes in it is different. I'll give you an example. Two of the best trips were Dubai and Phuket is because they were what you consider turnkey. That's why it was easy that most of our team had went on these trips without us because they were turnkey. Certain other ones that you got to put together, it takes people who know what they're doing. Just like, so there's certain details, especially if it's not all set up like excursions and this and that. Like those two types, Dubai and those, there's all you got to do is come. One of the best things that a turnkey situation is a payment plan. And what Janie is saying, in 10 months, that's the biggest bill, because here's what happens. You get a lot of people, everybody a yes, always a yes. Colorful pictures, beautiful water, I like it. But once it comes time to buy that plane ticket and you're 3 months away, well, I don't know if I can go, right? So you got to have a waiting list. And this is
Right.
what payment plans help do. So if it's trips that kind of come out that you vet and be like, man, these are team friendly, like not, or like
Turnkey.
team friendly, because they have these type of things in them, right? So those are those are best. So and I'll give you an example. When we were just doing the Phuket trip, we were full, and
Had a waiting list. So
and here's the reality. We are going to give rooms towards people within our group. It was people who outside our group wanted to come.
Right.
We can't give priority because it's people within our group who did a lot of legwork to make it happen.
all right.
Sure.
The trip was so easy that they booked this young lady, and her, what she have about?
I think it was like 7 or 8 of them in the end, 10. So what I did was make the recommendation for her to do her own trip the week before us, because I didn't know they gave us a max room, and we had this long waiting list already in our group. So
Yeah, and that's it. Those turnkeys are they turnkey in a way that all we got to do is follow the next person. And just like in the Phuket, we call
okay.
Janie.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we do? Don't do. All this stuff makes it super easy, right?
Right.
And so yeah, for the new person, it's two types. It is that situation of pleasure, but if you're gonna build to a team, it is the low-hanging fruit type of trip, that type of stuff. And then you need to, like Cynthia and I was talking about, you need to build ranks that have skin in the game on the trips that you're going on. So you build in with an intent, like we intently, it's certain people who we ain't have enough rooms. We're not letting everybody keep going on the trips just because they want to go. If we're putting them together, you're not coming just because you want to go.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You went to the last one.
Yes,
If
make
you
room
got
for
somebody, you can move to the top of the line. If you're just trying to occupy a room, you might have to get your own trip.
I gotcha. So,
Yeah.
as this continues to expand now, as far as kind of the pre-planning, getting people on the trips, or I guess getting people booked. I guess my kind of one of my questions when it terms of is there like a what's the word? How do I don't know if this is a delicate thing, but when you're looking at is there kind of a cutoff where somebody's like, hey, I'm going, I'm holding it, or whatever it is, or it's first come, first serve, or it's just like, hey, like
Yeah.
like
So
the
like,
binary. There's no holding room.
no. So like what Janie taught with us, in the turnkey, they gave a date, 60
Mhm.
days.
Right.
So when we promoting, like she talking about, we let people know it is not 60 days. It's 90. If you do not buy your flight and all the way in 90 days, you're off the list,
Gotcha.
because we need enough time to replace you.
Got it.
So you're
Right.
not, yeah. So because in the end, that'll tank it for the leaders, because we're on the hook for things. And if too many people hold spots that they're not going to complete, we got to know that it's going to be complete. It's way too much cramming work. That's what I'm saying. It takes work to change, all of that, the itineraries and things like that, if you do not give yourself enough time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I want to say this, and that's great for, like Janie's talking about everything she said. We do it all, the Zooms, in advance, like I taught before, we do all that for those type of trips. For things like what's happening with like you or Eric promoting, say, Vietnam, or when you went to Bali or things like that, for new people to have the opportunity to go. And that's great. But one of the things we do that I believe Janie them do as well, as Cynthia kind of mentioned, is that the people in our group, our leaders or whatnot, are promoting for them, the new people, to go to the next trip. This trip to Phuket was great because literally, I think we had one person that wasn't a member. which is unusual because normally we have, we look forward to them being a member, but
Yeah.
this goal was more of like Dubai, where people come home and then all of a sudden they want to be ambassadors that were just members because they like, oh, this is how you sell it. And so
Right.
it's all a master plan.
And that's a different thing too.
That's a different thing
So
too.
when
So
we
you
say
got
that,
to,
because there's some people who allow a bunch of non-members to go. We do not. You must, like, just like Jane and them, they group so big they don't even have non-members, right?
Right.
But if you have aspirations to become them, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
we have it where a room cannot be occupied by
by-
2 non-members.
correct. Someone
got to have a membership and you got to have a plus one.
Yeah.
I gotcha. So in other words, and of course, for those that are just getting started, there are people on this Zoom that are hitting gold and are going to hit sapphire that haven't even been on Escape yet. You know what I mean? Because they're just getting in and they're getting in there 50 people, right? They're getting in 100 people because
Yeah.
that's the momentum that's going to be happening here in Viago. I mean, it's going to be coming where it's like,
Yep.
like that's going to happen fast. So, but so from an aspirational standpoint, and I love what you said with beginning with the end in mind, of having a team where it's like, when you have a trip booked, it's sold out immediately. Like that's the aspiration, right? That's the goal we want to be at. We all want to be the bronze, right? So, and we all want to be able to dance like Raymond. So
That too.
There you go.
Absolutely.
now. But in the beginning is bringing a guest. So I want to just take a quick second on this. I know this is a little bit, honestly, I thought this was going to be a shorter call, but I think we're in a meaty subject. And I think it's important. And so let's take the next 15 minutes. And I do want to have some comments and put this together, and feel free to send me anything, guys, text it over to me because I want to put this together for us, because as a leadership group, this is one of the most important things that we can do to create a sticky culture and a value in the organization, and one of the best ways to grow your business. So bringing a guest. So let's kind of go with beginning with the end in mind. Let's say I'm just getting started. Maybe I don't have a massive team, right? So, and I've got the aspirations of getting there. Is this. So bringing a member, somebody else signing in. So, we got another leader. So bringing a member. How do you promote that? How do you use your points? Because I've heard this a few different ways, right? So as an example, let's say Phuket. Phuket is just for round numbers. Let's say it's $600 for a non-member, $500 if you're using points, right? So per person, right? You can use 200 points on the room. So it's $1,200 for a room for 2 people. It's $1,000 for a room. You can use 200 points. So if, let's say Jesse Mack, if I'm going on your guys' trip, right? So, and I want to bring somebody who's a non-member, right? Because I want them to come with me, right? So, right? Am I using are they paying 600 and I'm using my points, and that, like, how do you, because I've heard this go a few different ways. What do you see as best practice when it comes to bringing non-members? Any answers on that one for us? You guys got?
I think it's an individual thing because people have asked about that. Like, we're going on a big chill, and the thing that they're asking, like, do I use my points? Matter of fact, somebody got a call back now because she was on the waiting list and they're starting to fill it today. And I'm like, okay, it's up to you. So it's either $6.99 because they're a non-member, or you could tell them it's $5.99. It's up to you because you're using your points because they don't have any points to use.
Right.
So that's why it's up to a person's discretion.
Now, I'm going to say I answered that a little bit differently.
Love it. Fight. No, just kidding. So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Now, here's where I'm at, Jess, about all of this, because my thing is the value of the community.
True.
100%.
And that's what I promote to people, because I'll give you an example. I had a friend who was in part of our group before. They said no to every trip. Then when Phuket came, oh, can you just get me on the trip? Can you get me on the trip? No. Because here's why, right? Like, go look up the trip on your own. You can always go. It's free to go to whatever country you want to. But to go with us, you at least got to have a membership, because why would I deny people with a membership based on I got so many rooms that I would give it to somebody who don't?
Right.
Oh, let's say about points in the same. I will tell people, I don't know if I like you that much. So, right? So make it a favor, right? Like, hey, I got you this time. When you get back, you got to get your membership. And then you got me on the next one.
Gotcha.
So nothing for free, right? Because if so, people devalue the whole situation.
That's true too.
Yeah. And I agree with that, Jesse, what they're saying. The other thing is that if you want to take someone as a guest, the rule that our leaders, and this wasn't something that we even came out with, it just kind of happened, is once somebody goes on that trip and they're a guest, then the next time they go, be a member.
They
And
got
that's it,
to.
they got to. It's
Yeah.
not even optional.
Because
Somebody
we
try.
don't let somebody that's not a member book the trip. Number one, like y'all said, is that
Right.
there's got to be, the person that books has got to be a member. They can take a guest, but they can't keep taking that same guest every time.
That part,
Absolutely.
not,
Oh,
absolutely not.
no.
Yeah, well, I mean, even at Costco, if you go get a sample, the first free. But if you go back and they're like, excuse me, sir, you already tasted this. You gotta buy now.
Right.
And I'll tell
Exactly,
you how the
exactly.
values, right? We had a lady, she loved Dubai. By the time we got to Phuket, she was on the Zoom for Phuket. She had 5 people on that
The
Zoom,
Zoom.
and she wasn't a
Even a
member
member,
yet.
yeah.
Amazing.
And we took the ladies to the side. We said, y'all can come, but she got to become a member or y'all can. The lady took everybody off the Zoom and didn't let none of them go. That just
Yeah, I
tell you
love it.
they're not the right people for our community.
Period.
Got it. All right. So there's some great stuff on pre-stuff. I'm going to go through just the comment section here real quick because there's some great tips that were put into the comment section by some of the leaders here. And I just want to bring them up real quick before we wrap this. And I feel like we could go another hour on this. Some of you guys are like, this is very helpful. This is helpful for me because, again, if this is something new to us and understanding how to get the most out of this product and experience and create lifers, right? So, because this is what many of you guys have done. So, meet and greet, very important. This is from JAON. Also, a separate check-in that gives an exclusive feel. So, having a separate check-in, that's a really great thing. Now, some of these things are easy to pull off. Some of them are a little bit more difficult. Some of them require you as the leader to step up and do these things, and it is extra work. But think about it as if you do that extra couple hours of work to create somebody who's going to stay a member for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, is it worth it? And obviously the answer should be yes, right? So, and where sometimes if you're going in, now some of them, as you know, as KP said, where there's turnkey trips where they're built for tourism, meaning they're like that. There's other places you go to that might not be as built if it's depending on locations that you're going to, right? But in this, if there isn't something set up and you can go the extra mile, so to speak, and do this, it goes a long way for your group. Separate check-in. So major thing is always having always little gift bags, whether a product or something Viago branded always adds a nice touch. Those things are awesome. Those little things that create an experience. Wristbands give that VIP feel upon check-in, right? So there's something extra or something different or separate, which is pretty cool. And I saw
Hey,
Janie
Jesse.
pop back on. Oh, talk
Yes,
to me.
can I just add something about the wristbands, just so that everybody knows?
100%.
24-hour wristband is where we get our wrist, and we get a wristband for every trip. All
Yeah.
right. And sometimes we try to do color. Sometimes we try to just stay black with the lime green. But 24-hour wristbands, you buy 100 and they give you 200 free.
Right.
So that's been the least expensive for me to buy from. So you're probably going to spend about $75 with customization. Just so
Got it.
everybody knows. Okay. Sorry.
Got it. You can get 100 wristbands, $75 over there. So it's a great thing.
200 more. Oh, how much do you get them for, Jesse?
No, I don't actually. What's interesting is the Philippines doesn't do them, which is actually
Oh, okay.
so
That would be like $1.
yeah, they could. Yeah, they would be. There's other things I can get. I can get like some of the stuff I get here, like lanyards and like some bags and stuff I can get for super cheap in the Philippines. But weirdly enough, I don't know why they haven't picked up the silicone bands here. So because they're made in, they do them in China, and so by
Yeah.
the time you get them ordered in China and come over here, it's basically it's about the same as U.S. So,
So
um,
24-hour wristbands.
yeah, you got it. Which is great here. Okay, so let me get back up into a couple of these messages here before I got to get ready for my next presentation, which I'm doing in about 30. And then we've got the training here today. So on the training today, we're going to talk about some of these things here to the entire group, but in a little bit more of a formatted, like, hey guys, here's some things to do, here's what to expect. And obviously, one of the big things is this. I want on the call here tonight to help everybody. We're going to focus on 2 things. We're going to focus on closing out June on the team call. And if they are not booked on a trip, I'm going to ask for some of your guys' help as testimonials to get them like, because that is one of the best things. How do you lock somebody in? Well, if they're going on an escape in October, they're staying at least until October. You have a locked in member until October because you know you got them until then. So, and hopefully God, I gotta get this virus out of my system. It's so much fun. Anyway, Jared Ojeda talking about Zooms before have worked really well for me. I have led one big team trip, so getting to know people beforehand is great. Plus, you get the buy-in, help out with them, and help out with incidentals, themes, days, shirts, and stuff like that, which is great. So JON said something I talked about is like, and I think Amanda said, like, do you do an escape your way? And it's like, I think if you don't have a big team yet, use other team trips or reward escapes and take your team on that. This is a great tip. And Jay, so I want you to kind of bring this up. So I remember going to my first conventions, and this is something that, is 23 years ago now. I don't know. I feel like I'm super old in this space now. So when you get on this, when you go to these team trips, I'm sorry, when I was going to conventions and going to events, I always remember the circle ups. And what I mean by that was like at the end, there was always some big leader that did a circle up with their team afterwards. And it was like these massive circles and they're standing on chairs and they're like kind of screaming at everybody at the end. And they maybe have a team chant or a team brand or a team something. And I remember being like me or me and my guy, and we're like, we didn't we didn't have that. And I was like, I want that. Like, I would love to have that. That team circle up. I remember this, and so it's a good example. As perfect as this. So what I did was this: is if I could provide value, and most of the teams was like, hey, can we kind of be on your circle? All right. Obviously, the reward escape trips, the ones that that we're posting that are open trips for the company is when you get on them. Okay, obviously, hopefully there's a leader that's helping produce a lot of these things and do these things. However, you do them, meaning like just because you're a part of a bigger group, just like Cynthia talked about, is this just because she's a part of a bigger group that has 100 and something people on a trip doesn't mean she might not have her 10 or her 20 or her 5 or her 3 that you're doing this because I want you to begin with the end in mind. And just as KP said, the ambition of having a big team and starting with the end in mind is I'm starting to do these little things of building the culture of my trips that I'm going to have one day where I put out a trip and it's sold out with only members on my team. And then to the point where it's almost selective, where it's like, you can only book this trip because I've only got so many rooms. If you've rank advanced or you're a club 6, you can come. And if not, obviously in the beginning, it's like there's a feeling of like, in the beginning where it's like, why do I gotta beg people to go to Vietnam? This is amazing, but that will kind of build in as you go. So a great thing is like tagging in with some of the other groups, but also creating your own mini experience with your team and your people and selling them on the vision of your team trips and your group trips for your organization. Super important. Okay. Super successful. Carrie's coming on her first trip coming to Vietnam on your first trip. God, I'm so excited for you. So I'm now learning about a whole bunch of things I need to be doing as well. 70 people to South ambassadors, promoting it. Denise and I looking forward to the team trip, promoting it since my mighty two trips a year. Jared put this in the trip. So who's built some incredible culture inside of his group, 2 trips a year. We do a Mexico trip every year, easy to get to, all inclusive transfers. It's good for new people. Then we do a bucket list trip, Dubai, Thailand, Greece. Both trips are put into our presentation. So this is a great example. If you are in North America, which I know not all of you are, but this is a great, I think, a way to take a look at it. An easy trip for people to get on. That's convenient, simple. That's not like a big deal. Mexico, obviously for US and Canada is a more of an easier destination. And then a bucket list trip to somewhere around the world. Those are great things to be taking a look at. Let's see. I suggest that in the larger trips, the leaders of the groups work with the groups, the trips, the pre-planning. Yep. Bum, bum, bum. And then there was a couple others in here that I thought. Okay. So most of today we spent on pre. So we will create some more incentives. And giving trip to Guatemala April 2026. So it looks like. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to create some stuff and we're going to continue to talk about this and mastermind this of not just what you do pre-trip, but what you do kind of like during the trip or like just like the days of the trip, right? So because there's the couple days before the trip, There's on the trip, and then there's what you're doing post trip that help you build this and build momentum from your trip to trip of creating this culture in the organization. The one thing that I can tell you before we finish up here today and get ready for our next Zoom is this, is from my experience is this, is exactly what KP talked about is community, is the associations and the value. People, you know, when they take a look at these trips and what we're offering in value for people is not just an experience. It's a community and the culture and the associations and the value of what it is they get to be around and how we show up with even from our energy and pouring into people and how important that is. So there's all these things that I think that we can do and these little one percenters. And the goal is obviously we're not looking for perfection, is just looking for progress, is get a little bit better, get a little bit better, get a little bit better. So and learning from the people that have mastered this and of creating culture on this on these trips. So we're going to put together this you know the leadership Bible, so to speak, when it comes to trips here in terms of things you can do before, during, and after in building out a large organization, leveraging out what I believe is the most valuable aspect of our membership, which is the purpose of us all coming together in the first place, which was community. We talk about it. It is not just, you know, it's not just a word to us. It's an experience. It's much bigger than that. So love you guys. I'm going to be doing a live presentation back here on this same channel in 30 minutes. And looking forward to us having the best escapes of the summer ever. And especially as we are building into our September event and Elevate in the US and our October Elevate in Europe and Africa. Love you guys. We'll see you soon. Bye.